Hey, hello everyone, Airmax here. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my thought about a Linux distribution I've been using for more than a month now, Garuda Linux. This distribution is not what you think it is. That's all I have to say. Let's get into it. As always, let's give you a little bit of context before we start into the feedback about Garuda. I've been using EndeavourOS for more than 18 months now. I loved EndeavourOS. I love the fact that it's super easy to install. You have like an Arch, ready to go type of install with a really clean and minimalistic approach. But lately, I wanted to change my desktop environment. I felt like XFCE was not really like getting a lot of updates, and I felt like I wanted to try something different. And what I wanted really to focus was KDE Plasma. So I tried to find like the equivalent of EndeavourOS in terms of like easiness of installation in other distro. I could have used Arch, pure Arch, because I know how to install it, but I didn't want to spend 6 or 7 hours going through all the post-install setting you still need to do when you start from Arch. I was really hesitating. So I went to Distro Watch and I started to look at the most looked at distribution, and I felt on Garuda. I was like, is Garuda really what I'm looking for? So yeah, it looked like it is because it's Arch based. It used KDE Plasma, like their latest release. Their main ISO is based on KDE Plasma. So I was like, maybe we should give it a try. But there is a thing. When you go there and you look at the theme and how Garuda Linux is presenting itself to you, it kind of looks like this. You see this screenshot, and I'm like, man, like this is not me. It's too flashy. There is this, Garuda, like, welcome. Do I really need that? I'm like, man, this is not me. But I still went for it. And I was not disappointed at all. And let's start with a good point. The first good point is that Garuda Linux comes with a lot of different desktop environments, and all of those ISO are really well done. So let's start with their flagship. It's called the KDE Dragonized Edition. It's really sleek. It has a serious, dark, blurry type of theme. I would call it a little like Jackie theme. They have another edition called the Dragonized Gaming Edition, which is really more heavy on the software. It has like a lot of software installed. If you want to go with a normal experience, I would really advise to go with this one, and then install whatever software you want to install, because this one is, in my opinion, a little bit heavy. Then they have a GNOME, they have a Cinnamon, they have a XFCE, they have a MATE or Mate, they have a LXQT Kwin. I tried this one too, really good one. It gives you the opportunity to use the Kwin Windows Manager and having the LXQT desktop environment. So it's kind of like best of both worlds if you want a system which is a little bit less consuming RAM. What I would like to say from this is that whatever ISO you're going to start with, you're going to have really a Garuda experience. It's not them just pushing a desktop environment and say, okay, now you're good to go. No. It's all like well customized to their idea of what Garuda look like. Whether you like it or not, it's a different point. But I think there is some work that need to be shown up there. And again, like, kudos to the Garuda team there, because they did a great job in my opinion. So they have also like all the tiling type of desktop environments here and Windows Manager. So they have like a Wayfire, they have the Sway edition, they have the i3WM and the Qtile. So those ones, they work also right off the box. Really good experience, but you can see the theme is still there, and it's just really like they did a good job at integrating their theme in all those desktop environments, I have to say. Now, my favorite is this one, the Garuda Linux KDE Lite. I will really encourage you to go with this one because it comes with all the tools I'm going to talk about just after, but not with their theme. To me, that's the way to go, okay? Because I'm not a big fan of their theme. I'm going to explain that to you after, but if you want to go have a base which is like usable, you start with that, and then you change the overall like aspect of the distro. And for the most courageous, they have also the Garuda Linux KDE Git. So second point, which is a really good point for them, is the easiness of installation. I believe they use CalamaRS installer. So I'm going to show you an install here I've done in a virtual machine, just to give you an idea. It's super clean, super straight to the point, nothing crazy here, but it's still easier than a pure Arch install. So what I really like at the end of the install, there is this little like setup assistant managers that pop up and give you a lot of options for the rest of the install. So first, you make sure that everything is up to date on your system, and then this window appears. It's called Garuda Setup Assistant. I think it's really cool because it kind of like give you an easy way to set up your machine moving forward. So you have also your OS preferences. Do you need a printer? Do you need some performance tweak? Do you need some wallpaper? Then you have all the different like input you can add, the different font. You have like all the different software you can add on top of everything. And the kernel, all the different software, and everything is categorized and you can go through them like really fast. So I won't go through it. I'm gonna let you discover it on your end. But I really like that. Because when you come from a pure Arch install, you don't have that, and you have to do it all on your own. And I think it's pretty cool. It's really like a good like quality of life improvement there, that's for sure. The third point I want to mention for the Garuda application is called like the Garuda Gamer. So with this little application here, you can install everything you want related to gaming. So you have all those applications, those tools, those launchers you can install by just clicking. And I think it's fun. So then on top of that, they have a lot of free games. You have to look for it here. Where is it? SuperTux. Yeah. They have also like a lot of emulator, RetroArch, Yuzu, like all of those. Especially Yuzu if you want to play Legend of Zelda. I'm just saying. Another point I want to mention is the fact that when you install Garuda, you don't have any option for your file system. They impose you to use BTRFS. I hope I'm pronouncing it well because I'm always switching letters there. But the idea is like you can't install anything else in terms of file system. And it kind of shocked me for the first time, but then I understood. They have this little tool here called Snapper Tool, will let you restore any of the snapshots you made from your system. So let me introduce it to you real fast. They have this Snapper tool here, and they also have what they call like the BTRFS assistant. And the way it works, you have a lot of like backup, which are like set up out of the bat. So here, if I look it here, you have the configuration. You have the number of save it's gonna keep. And with that being done, when you install, for example, like a new kernel, or you install new application, or just go through an update, and something break, well, guess what? You just open the Snapper tool here, you selection the snapshot you want to recover, you click here, it restores it, you reboot, and you are back on track. Here, awesome job, because you could do that on Arch, but I'm pretty sure you would have to do it manually. And for doing it manually on server, on different file system like ZFS, I'm telling you, it can be a pretty hard task to do. I would say not impossible, but really time consuming. Here, it kind of like facilitates everything, and I really like it. So another good point for Garuda here. Another application I want to talk about is Garuda Assistant. So this one gives you a lot of options to do some maintenance task without opening the terminal if you're not really into that. Reinstall package, like you have a lot of like things you can do right off the bat, and it's really super easy to access. So I kind of like it. It's a GUI. It's really nice. It can give you back access to the BTRFS assistant, the tool I was showing you before. Here you have like different system component you can install right off the bat without installing the terminal. I know those ones, they can be tedious if you are not used to Arch. It's super straight to the point. I like it. So you have network, Bluetooth, printing and scanning, virtualization, audio, firewall, like Samba, video. You have a lot of things you can install right off the bat. This is really cool. Some of the settings too, you can change your bash, You can change your DNS here. You can also like switch the performance tweak whenever you want. So me, I'm not using them right now because I don't have the need of them. But if you want to, you could do it. Use one click, you install, everything is good to go. I've tested it. I'm going to tell you why I'm not using them. It keeps my frequency of my 16 core 32 thread pretty high. And it kind of make my room pretty hot here. With the kernel I use here, the TKG CFS, which is like super aggressive. I don't really need to use that. But if you want to squeeze any performance out of your machine, you can definitively go with those. It's pretty good. Another quick application I want to showcase here, it's called Garuda Boot Option. I really like it because if you are not used to playing with Grub and going there and play with all the different settings and you have different kernel, this application is going to make your life really easier because it's a GUI again and you have access to everything you want here. It works pretty nice. I never had any issue and man, I've been installing a lot of kernel on this OS already. No problem. You can change the kernel parameter here like super fast. You can go deeper there. I won't cover everything into it, but that's a really, really good application. And it needs to be like talked about because if you can do something which is going to make you gain time by not editing those grub configuration file, this is the application you want to go to. So again, another good point. Last but not least, they have this application called Garuda Setting Manager, which gives you the opportunity to install like different language pack, play with your kernel, see the one which are installed, like remove them. Not bad at all. And also they have this little hardware configuration here that gives you the opportunity to install the driver you need. So again, if you are allergic to the terminal and still want to use Arch, you got it here. So now let's talk about the configuration itself. I really like the fact that Garuda comes with a Zen kernel, which is more like gaming oriented. It's not the best of the kernel, but it's a solid base to start with. The second one, which I really like, is the fact that it comes with like ZRAM already configured out of the box. It's pretty hard to install by yourself. And the fact that it comes out of the box, it's super cool. So me, when I compile like my kernel, I use it. It's really nice. Another good point for Garuda here. So last but not least, I want to talk about the chaotic OR, which is installed and configured out of the box on Garuda. So if you don't want to spend too much time like compiling everything, or even like too much time installing chaotic OR, well, it's already there, and it worked. Like that. Clack. Now let's talk about the bad. Garuda comes with a lot of great things, but it also comes with some issue which could be like game breaking for you. The first one is the fact that I had a terrible experience trying to install Garuda Linux with my NVIDIA 1490 RTX. I just couldn't load the live media. I just could not. It took me, I don't know, like maybe like 30 minutes of trying to understand what went wrong. And the way I went out of it is I had to edit the grub kernel parameter at the launch of the USB live install. Otherwise, I will be stuck at what they call like a live media carrying setup. I made some research and I'm not the only one to have this issue. Garuda team, if you look at this video, please try to find a solution to make it like smoother because I do believe your distribution is really good, but this is a deal breaker. If you can't install, you can't enjoy it. Simple as that. Now, the second bad point. Let's get rid of the elephant in the room. The theme is really a love or hate situation, I believe. When I installed it, I kind of love it for like 1 week. And then I was like, man, this is too hard on my eyes. I'm trying really hard to love it, but I just can't stand it. For my taste, and I'm just talking about myself, I think it's too cutthroat. It's just this type of theme where you hate it or love it. And I do believe like you are kind of like rejecting too much people in the hate situation. When I look at the Dragon Eyes, I can say, and I can tell that there is a lot of work into it. It's really well polished, but I do believe like a lot of people are just going to hate it and they will never try the distribution and enjoy it. So on this one, if you want to try and you are in my position, I would say try it. If it doesn't work, go with something like smoother, like a Breeze Dark, or me, I really like Dracula. I went for a full Dracula experience and since then, I love it. It's not hard on my eyes, and it's super slick, minimalist. Another point I want to mention here, which is on the negative side, is the fact those settings, when you're going to go through the Garuda Assistant, they are really good, but they don't share, or I would say like tell you the full story of what you're going to install on your system. So for someone like me who is really a control freak about what is on or off on my system, I'm going to give you a simple example. I went through the settings and I needed Samba, okay? But I needed Samba as a client side, and I was just lazy to use the terminal. So I was like, nah, I'm going to click on that and I'm going to install it. And I've done it. Issue is like when I installed it, he also click on those one here. And he created service which also installs the Samba server. And when I went into my journal and I look at my log, because this is something I do like quite oftenly after installing an operating system to see what's going on the good side, but also on the wrong side, I noticed my machine was running a Samba server. And I was not really happy about it. I really like the assistant, the way it's built, but maybe, you know, add something there to make sure that people, they really understand what they are installing. Because you're going to have a lot of like negative feedback of people like me who are like control freak, who are like, hey, you know what? I had the Samba server installed. I didn't even know it. Yeah, that's pretty bad from my perspective. Now I went through all those details. The question at $1 billion, guys. Is this distribution right for you? I would say try it, okay? If you're too lazy like me, you don't want to install Arch and you want to have like, you know, best of both worlds, this one could be a really good contender. Like you have Endeavor OS for sure. I still love this distribution. This one is at the same level, really, really good. You still have like some tweak to go through and make sure, you know, it kind of like fits your test at the maximum. But I would say like give it a try. Don't make that mistake I did 1 year ago, which was like totally like pushing it away because of its overall like appearance. It's easily customizable, and man, it's pretty neat when you finish doing whatever you want with it. Another point I didn't mention in the video is the gaming performance. This distribution is really good. Okay, it's not bloated as it looked like. I had really, really good performance with the video game I tested. I played a lot of Apex Legends. I played a lot of Jedi Survivor. I played a lot of Minecraft offline. I think I reached like 1300 frames per second on Minecraft, which is pretty mind-blowing. I didn't encounter anything negative towards the performance of my game related to this operating system. None. Overall, Garuda, a really good distribution. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment below. Have you tried Garuda before? Are you willing to give it a try? I do believe, after using it for more than a month, that the best description for this distribution is Arch for the noob. That's how we'll call it. Arch for the noob. Because you get there, it's pretty easy. You have a GUI for everything, and it makes your life easier. If you are coming from Windows, would I recommend this one right off the bat? I would say no. I would say start with something simpler like Linux Mint. Enjoy Linux Mint. When you try to reach the limit of Linux Mint because of its architecture, you want to play more like a little puzzle with the different components, I would say move to Arch. And this one is a way better option than a distribution like Manjaro. Manjaro, in my opinion, is just trash. Garuda is really good. Endeavor OS is good too, but I would say this one, like, it gives you more options out of the box. It gives you like more, I would say, like tools than Endeavor OS. Endeavor OS is more minimalistic. So I would say, like, if you go to Endeavor OS, it's gonna be, I'm gonna make a video about it, but you're gonna have to be a little bit higher in terms of your experience with Arch overall. I think this one is really good transition from, you know, a Linux user was just tired of the Linux Mint or Ubuntu type of approach and want to go to Arch. This is the one you want to go to. Yeah, That's all I have to say, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to help the channel. I need you. Please give a like to this video if you had any type of good feedback. Another point, if you want to see how the gaming performance is on this specific distro, I made a lot of stream on this one, and I invite you to go watch them. This is going to give you a way better idea of how this baby perform in a real live scenario, gaming scenario, than any speech I could give it right now. Yeah, that's it. That's all. Have a great one. Take care, and as always, bisous bisous.